everyone. Please take your seats. The show will start in 5 minutes. Shh, everyone, the show is about to begin.
Being a parent of a child who is diagnosed with cancer is a parent's worst nightmare.
We cannot save the world alone, but cancer cannot wait.
It hurts to think how it would be for a family to know that there's treatment available to save your kid's life, and you cannot access to it because you were born somewhere different.
Children are children. Cancer is cancer. The treatments are the same. Like Danny Thomas
I
said,
made a fantastic promise.
no child should die in the dawn of life.
I can't do it alone. I need your help. Please help.
It can be done. It is possible because you're there for us.
StJude was founded in the 1960s with a goal that no child should die in the dawn of life. And that means no child, period, anywhere.
We're all bound by a common goal to help save children, and what can be more pure than that?
As a scientist, I feel passionate about sharing data. So in the future, we can make the next patient suffer less and get better treatment across the world.
StJude global idea goes beyond StJude. We will not stop until we have reached out to every single child with cancer in the world and cure more. That's a moral imperative to change the world.
For the persons supporting StJude, you are saving lives worldwide.
This is my mission. Not for the now, it's for the forever.
Together.
Juntos.
Together, we have an opportunity to make a difference around the world.
We are
Finding cures.
Here, saving children.
Children.
Everywhere.
Everywhere.
Okay, well, so much for a nice, touching moment, and then, oh, go figure. I did try to reset it so it wouldn't be there immediately. It didn't work. It comes back. Like, here, let me show you. If I try to reset this so we can start over with what's there right now, ball. I know you're not sorry. I would expect nothing less. But anyways, good evening, everybody. I figured that was the best video to start the final day of fundraising week on. I know we've talked about it a lot of times. The amount of good that's been done here in the States, it's down to 1 in 5 might not make it, but worldwide that number is still unfortunately 4 in 5. And that's just, it's not good enough. And as I mentioned in the video, it shouldn't be that just because you live somewhere where treatment isn't as readily available that you don't make it. And so that's why we do what we do. It's not just because, oh, it's in the US. That's not the goal. It's because it's a global organization. Yes, it's based out of Memphis, Tennessee, but it doesn't mean that they don't have a helping hand in the entire world. And that's really what we're going for, is hoping that one day, and I know I've joked with a lot of the team at LSAC, they hope that one day they don't have a job because there's nothing left to fundraise for, because it's done. But Good evening, everybody. Welcome. It is the final day. I guess I don't need the poll anymore. You can't see me pointing at it either. Here, well, I'll get rid of the poll so you can enjoy. You can enjoy ball. Ball. But real quick, we do have a lovely donation match that was started by the one and only Zelda. Thanks to him and Carpe. There is a donation match that has partially been donated towards, but there is still much to donate towards. I believe there's $225 left to donate towards, if my math is correct. It could be very incorrect. I'll be honest. Yay, wacky. I feel that on antibiotics. I feel that. So, if you want to get to more milestones, this is the easiest way to do it over here. It's every donation is times 2. So if you donate $1, it's $2. If you donate $100, it's $200. So you get to do good for even more. Reminder real quick, because I want to make sure, because I don't think I did this one day. Trading cards still here. So if you'd like to donate to get the trading cards, there's still time for that. We'll keep it open until the end of the month. So, but I figure people are not going to see them as often as if I'm showing them off. So, reminder also. So it's $50 for these two because they're full art. $250, you'll get a holographic version of them. If you don't, or I should say, donate a total of $250, you'll get a holographic set. If you donate a total of $500, you will get gold. So that is that. As Wacky mentioned, this puzzle has been unlocked, and that will open in about 23 minutes. So it is set, ready to be claimed against. So for anybody that's interested, that is up, and it just needs to be time unlocked. So if you want it, first come, first serve. We only have one. We're not giving away more than one of them. And if we hit probably about like here, $3,000, not only are you going to unlock a dragon fight on the server that will be streamed, but because there was such a fight with the poll, and people were very excited, if we hit $3,000 raised by the end of the night, we will do an RV There Yet stream. I will make that agreement. So if you wanted RV There Yet, and it was close, if we hit $3,000 tonight, we will do it. I haven't done a dragon fight in a long time, and I don't know how rough it is in the new Minecraft. Ooh, Hey, donations are donations from our end. But, I mean, I don't think we're going to get to this, but this is if you hit, I think, 4,000, 5,000. It's one of the 2 milestones per cut. You're going to make me get up from my comfy spot.
Sorry, I could have done it for you.
Rude. So, this is the other donation milestone if you hit it. I keep mine on the shelf because it gets a lot of light. And he glows. Very hard to show off in all this light. So, get back in my comfy seat. But that has not been unlocked yet. That needs to be unlocked with further donations, which is not impossible. I will not say it's impossible. It's going to be difficult. Is that everything? I think that's everything except for the fact that Pup is already lurking. He is right over here. He's waiting. Pup treats have been reset. They are open again. You have 5 total for the day. Obviously, if you want to give one to Casper, he is passed out in his little nest. So there's also that. But I think that's it. So tonight is another crowd control night, but this time it is Minecraft. So it is a build-off. Penguin and I are on a server. We are not on the main server. Don't worry. We're not going to go destroying everybody's, interest of getting on the server because an Ender Dragon or something has come through. So it is just the 2 of us. We have our theme, and it is ready to be destroyed. Tonight, stutter and a half. Tonight We're going to be kind of doing 3 different builds. They'll be roughly about 45 minutes each. And the idea is to try to tie them together. So they're all kind of city-based, town-based, depending on how you take it. It's based in buildings. I build off buildings. Anyways, let me make sure I've got everything set on my side. Move all my windows around so that I have them where I need them. Make sure I can see so that crowd control doesn't randomly turn itself off for some unknown reason. Because it likes to do that, apparently, for some reason. I don't know if it's something I've done. It's very plausible that it's something I've done. Go ahead and put that there. All right. Also, let me unmute. Is everything working? Yeah, I figured that would be a penguin. Yep, that tracks. Penguin, you have not unmuted yourself on your mic. That helps. Yep, that tracks for penguin. Alright, let me see. Is everything working correctly? I see that the chicken looks like it's lagging, but I don't know if that's just the chicken being the chicken.
And we talked about how this is crowd control, right?
Yes. So crowd control is on. I've got the server statistics. I think it's just the chicken was being weird and it was not tabbed into, so we should be good. Penguin is that side of that wall. So Penguin has her own building area. I have mine. Also, let me know how audio is. I know Minecraft isn't super audio intense, so it's not like there's a whole lot to listen to, but there is some music playing. So I want to make sure that you can hear what there is. I can turn it up because it's pretty low. Pretty low. It's just faint music playing though. So this is our building location. We each have the exact same size. It is barriered on the sides so that you shouldn't hopefully be able to destroy that build, but you will be able to build, or you'll be able to destroy our builds. If that makes any sense. I hope it does. Basically, I left the roof open. So if I come up here, I can fly out, but I can show you that there is barrier blocks here. So this is how we decided to do it this time. Hopefully that works the best for crowd control and such. Anything else, Penguin?
Nah, I don't think so. You've already explained. We've got builds that we're doing every 45 minutes. At the very end, you guys will be able to go. Or I guess it's after each segment.
You're not talking into your mic very much.
Closer?
I don't know about that. Just you have a habit of talking away from your microphone.
But yeah, so basically every 45 minutes we will spin the wheel, see what new
build we have to do. This whole space here will be kind of like a town center of whatever things that we get. So we will see how it goes. You guys will vote and we'll see who wins overall.
There's probably an echo from in the microphones would be my guess. The only way we've got for this right now, we have not solved that. If it's too bad, let me know.
If it's too bad, let me know and we'll figure it out.
Let me see. I wonder if Penguin's audio has a filter on it. Let me see.
Filter.
Nope, there's no filter on Penguin's audio. I don't know why why Penguin's audio would be doing anything, because it's not, there's no filter on it. So if it's a consistent issue, let me know. Worst case scenario, I get a long audio cable and just plug it into the mixer. Hey, Chef.
What do you mean? Pretty good without a filter.
Yeah, 15 minutes and we haven't actually started the build, so but yeah, definitely let me know if there's if Penguin's audio has any issues. I realized I hadn't unmuted Discord at the initial start, so that's on me. And obviously there will be a delay because it's coming through Discord and the camera is direct into mine. So be happy you get a camera, so I can turn off Penguin's camera and then we solve all the problems.
Say turn off my camera or turn off my voice. Whichever one you guys want. You tell us what experience you like or dislike.
It's the unfortunate thing of this setup was not built for dual streaming. So, but
Thank you.
thank you for the 50, Rhett. Turner treat. Should probably get Turner his treat before we start. Unless you make it a challenge for you and you have to give him a treat while I have time to build.
No. Absolutely not.
Do you want to give it?
Do you want to give it to him tonight? You haven't been able to do it yet.
I'm content in my chair.
Okay.
I mean, you asked. If you want the actual answer, that's the answer. I'm happy here. So we still have donation match left. So don't let that go to waste. Casper is not motivated by this in the slightest. The match doesn't look like it has updated. There should, it should have moved, but.
Thank you so much, Rhett.
Yes, thank you very much. I'll keep an eye on that if for some reason it doesn't keep updating, but I know it was matched. Or it should have, yeah. It did, yeah, because it was 26-25, right? I just lost my mind. Party. Sorry, I'm trying to keep track of like 10 things at once, and it's problematic. I know better than to do this to myself. I also, for the record, I do have Penguin's capture on my OBS, but I do have it blocked, so I cannot see what she's doing. My goal is to never be able to see what she's doing. It's a little bit difficult because I can see right here.
Why? Are you helpful? Are you helpful? Are you nice? Excuse you. Okay, he looks fine. I just have a little friend.
I do realize that if we're in creative, things won't hurt us if they do spawn enemies. So, yeah.
Should we just build a chest full of stuff and then let it go?
Chat, let's get your opinion. What do you want to do? Do you want to see us die, or do you want to, if you spawn something that might be damaging, it damages stuff, or it requires us to kill it in order to kind of get space back?
See spawn, get out of creative mode. Once spawn gone, get back in creative.
That's a lot of effort. I don't think that's gonna work. I don't think that's gonna work. That's a lot of caveats.
He's so cute.
So cute.
Oh, blocks, TNT blocks. I mean, if you guys do anything explosive, it still will destroy this floor. This floor is not safe. So just so you know, it's fair game. Like, you just won't kill us. We'll try it for the first one, see what happens. And then go from there. Yep, like that.
Rude.
Yep. So yes, it still will work. It still will work. You will still be able to destroy things.
You scared
my little friend. He panicked.
All right, Penguin, you want to spin the wheel?
What?
Yeah.
Oh,
Artie,
yeah.
you've never played Minecraft? Really?
Wheel.
We have a server.
All right, so Wheel has random different shops or buildings that you would see in a town. So first 45 minutes, what are we doing?
Hi, Casper.
I'm sorry.
We have to
build a court.
The irony.
Courthouse. Court. All I can think about is our famous clip with Fat Man.
Oh boy.
So, and this is absolutely, General and I, we just need to make it cohesive with whatever our world is here. So we can build whatever we want, but you guys get to determine if you like it or not.
All right. Are we ready, chat? I have a timer here. Penguin, are you ready? Are you repairing your floor?
Yeah. Yes.
You cheater. Already cheating.
I didn't cheat. I was fixing.
Were you building while the timer wasn't running?
No.
Little robot here says no. So. All
right, 3, 2, 1, go.
Hi.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Is
this timer going to be something that I can see, or are you going to give call outs?
I'll try to give call outs. Chat can also give call outs when they see it. Is there?
And the other
no.
cool
All right,
thing
and the
about
other
this
cool
is
thing about this is General and I have to make sure this space is where all 3 buildings have to go. And we want it cohesive, so you could change like the floor and everything. So absolutely up to each person what they want to do, as well as how they spend each time, because it's 45 minutes for each.
Fair enough.
As you can tell, I spend great time because I haven't done a single thing.
You can very easily distract her with talking. Penguin likes to talk.
Maybe they don't want me to be distracted.
I don't know about that. They like distracting
There's
you.
so many options. Okay. All right. Focus. Actually, I don't want that. I want.
Oh, yep. Okay. Yep.
Hey, what about you? Oh, okay. Now that's not cool. You know what? How about I'm focusing on the wrong things? I'm focusing on the wrong stuff, chat.
See, and I won't use the advantage that I have World Edit installed. I feel like that is a little cheaty.
That would be so mean.
All right. I have to not say the things that I'm thinking out loud. Oh.
Excuse you.
Okay. Oh, you turned it into. Well, I'm not
Well.
gonna say. Stop it.
Okay. Stop.
Stop
Wait.
it.
Stop. Nope. I can work with this.
Oh. Okay. That's problematic.
Alrighty then. Little buddy, don't get hurt. Okay? Don't get hurt, little friend. Oh man, this 3 hours is gonna be really hard because with stuff happening like this in this small space. Oh my gosh. Da 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 da.
Oh no! You hardened my concrete.
That's not a sentence you hear all the time.
I didn't realize that's a horrible idea. I don't know if I want to do anything that can be hardened anymore.
Nope, that's not what I wanted. Da 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 da.
Curious what you're
Da
doing.
da 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 da. Nothing. Da 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 da. Da 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 da.
Tracks for Penguin.
No, I'm doing great things. I'm not distracted by it. I'm being smart with it. Da 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 da. Na 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 na. I utilize what I've been given.
Okay. It's only slightly concerning.
Who likes a good interactive courthouse?
What is it going to be if you lose your trial, you get thrown into lava?
Excuse you. That was scary.
Oh, he's just going to burn. Okay.
Oh no. Hey, too hot.
So sorry, little buddy.
He's trying to follow me, that's for sure.
I was gonna say, I feel the following. All right, let's do this. The thing that I love about doing this is getting to have the creative ability. I love it so much. Rhett has given good challenge.
Is that what you call that? Okay.
I do. I was gonna say, I'm so curious of how we both differ from this.
Is it quite different?
Is it quite different, everyone? Oops. And after every build is when you guys will get to vote.
Is that okay? I didn't know that.
That's what you said.
I didn't say that.
You
No.
did. That's what we talked about earlier.
No. No. We talked about how it needs to be a cohesive build, so or a cohesive whole thing, so you can't vote on that until the end.
Then do that. Do 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 do.
5 minutes.
5 minutes.
Will you get it?
Will there be a war? Who gets the puzzle?
Wait, oh.
Wait,
Whoa,
oh.
I thought I lost
Woo,
my
I thought I lost my little golem.
It's also 5 minutes
Man,
down,
go
I
on,
think, is
buddy.
the other piece. Just in case you didn't get that that was a time check as well.
I didn't understand that.
I can tell now.
I appreciate that.
I'm excited.
I'm excited to try to blend this in. I definitely, well, I was going to come up with a plan until I realized what crowd control might be like. And now I'm like, uh-oh, I just have to go with the flow. But we also know.
Oh, that is effective
why?
still in this.
Oh,
Okay, yep, that still works in creative.
That's painful.
that's painful.
Oh, yeah, no, I hate that. I hate that.
This is
This is
Oh.
when you're in creative, this is super painful.
oh,
What?
what
Okay.
to be.
All right.
All right.
All right, did not realize that would be that effective. I love for you guys because I can't see what he's doing, but I know the two of us have very different building styles.
Oh
Oh
boy.
my god. Speed. Speed. Yeah.
And Penguin will be making noises the entire time.
Oh yeah, sorry. If this is your first time watching, I can't stop making noises. I want to say I'm sorry, but I'm
You're
not.
not.
But I know that the experience is going to vary on the person and how much you want to hear noises.
Beautiful.
Beautiful. Gorgeous. I really am curious to see what General did with this. Na 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 na.
Oh,
Na na na.
hate that. I'm gonna use it to my advantage for the moment. This is the probably.
What
The,
did-
did you not realize your controls are inverted?
No, everything's working fine for me.
Well, because by the time it happened, you probably hadn't.
Yay!
I don't know if I like this color.
I love when that happens.
So
What?
I don't know if I like this color combination.
Oh. I hear that, and I'm like, colors? What colors? I do have a feeling our builds are going to be very different.
Oh,
Oh,
yep.
goodness.
I'm just gonna.
I just
I'll just be here for a moment.
juggle. Juggle.
Me?
Are you not entertained? Juggle.
There we go.
Juggle.
I feel like they've toned
That was
down
weird.
this color, which is what's making this worse.
Nope, that's not what I want.
I
Okay, I
need
need to start
to-
future thinking. Chat, I didn't future think. Let's. This shape is very helpful. Okay, I can do this. What does a court have? Place for judge.
The irony of I have much more knowledge than you right now. Not sure if that's gonna help. I joke about that because I had jury duty last week, so I actually had to sit in a courtroom. It was great fun. 10 out of 10. Highly recommend. I don't actually recommend it.
Dude,
It's miserable.
these disrupts are pretty good.
What was your most recent disrupt?
I was responding to chat.
Ah, okay.
Just seeing that some of the disrupts work.
You don't have to sign for it, at least here. It just shows up in your mailbox and you don't really have a choice. If there's another way to do it, I'm not aware of it. I realized I should have done this. This probably. Oh.
Yo, way, hey now. Hey, what you doing there? What you doing?
Thank you for the 50. Oh. There we go. I have a feeling I know where that's gonna go because I see the St. Jude puzzle. St. Jude puzzle has been claimed. I think we know who got that.
Who got it?
Nicely done, Wacky. I'm glad you got it. Nobody sniped it out from under you. Which means we are quite close to our next milestone. We're at 2,825 bucks. Uh, 33 minutes left.
Can't get me that time. You guys have done so good. Like, seriously. Very, very impressed. Da-da-da. Chat, how you feeling so far between the two of us? Any initial reactions to what we're doing? Da-da-da-da.
Oh.
I feel like something just happened.
You slow speed.
Oh, man!
But I'm getting work done.
How come I feel like she's not mentioning that she's not getting hit by reaction or interactions and is just like...
No, I'm slow right
No,
now.
I'm slow right now.
Okay. And I apologize if I'm not reading chat as much as I normally do. Obviously doing this, so I'm a little bit less focused on chat.
He's a serial player. It's not how I wanted that to come out, but you know that's how it came out.
I'm just happy
I have a golem friend. Do you have one?
Yeah. I have a plan for him, too.
You don't talk about him.
He's just wandering.
You what?
I said I have a plan for him.
I just thought it was a great idea.
Thank God I was in the air. I don't know if that did anything to Penguin, because she has not mentioned anything.
What happened?
What happened?
The hole that was dug.
Oh, there's a hole.
Oh, there's a hole?
Penguin is oblivious to all of your disrupts, chat.
I was on a mission.
Oop, oop.
I was on a mission.
I was on a mission.
I have to. The hardest thing for me, I'll be honest, is because we're not on the server, I did so much work setting up the server that I'm used to things that I don't have access to now that are accessible on the server because of all the mods we have.
Sir.
Um.
Oh, it makes me happy. That makes me really happy.
I'm slightly concerned.
Nothing. You just being happy is all.
Yeah.
Dun, dun,
Gremlin
dun.
Penguin will come out in this many times.
I
Stop
keep
saying you're
saying
sorry,
sorry,
just
but
a
I'm
lie.
not sorry. I am not. I am not sorry.
I love it.
Oh, I love it.
Very
I'm
happy.
very, very happy right now.
I'm 50-50.
I'm excited.
I'm excited. Beep, 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 beep. The thing is, though, this is build 1, and I don't. I'll fully admit I don't know exactly where I'm going, but I'm gonna make it. It's gonna work. It didn't make sense, did
You
it?
rarely do. It's okay. Maniacal laughter. Exactly.
Oh, I'm so excited when I get a good idea. Man, don't you get excited when you have a good idea?
I'm worried. Oh, that's rude. Well, I guess I was going to put something there anyways, but not exactly like that. Okay. I mean, fair.
Ooh, tacos are great. Wait, who told me that tacos are allowed on planes now? That's the thing?
I did.
I'm like,
Literally
weren't
this
tacos-
morning.
Oh, good job. Oh, good job. I remembered.
I'm glad you remember the conversations we have. Feel so
It
loved.
doesn't feel so You should.
Who told me about this? Oh, it was my husband this morning.
Okay, well, that's fair when you put it like that, but I didn't mean it like that.
Well, I don't know if that matters.
Sorry.
Apparently.
Eh.
27 minutes.
Thank you. I was just about to ask.
God, she's a gremlin.
Oh man, okay. Now comes the very hard part that I was not looking forward to.
I'm happy about that. That's annoying. No. Why are you doing that?
Don't.
So I do these in correct rows.
I do. I love the random grumbles because I know. I think of your building style and how some things will annoy you way more than me. E. Do. We're having different types of things. This is a very unique type. It's the type that I don't know what to say.
Why are you guys connecting? I don't want you to.
Do.
Yes, technically I could go with this. Nope, that's not what I meant to do.
Right, this is like honestly the most like thoughtful I've been in something for a little bit. Oops. Here we go. I'm trying, chat. I'm doing the work. Whoops. Okay, as I mess up. But this has got to be something you've seen before, right?
Not happy with this.
Do you say yes happy or not happy?
Not happy.
Oh no.
You hush and you worry about your own.
No, I did. I didn't mean that sarcastically. Was it genuine? Oh no.
That's cool.
Oh no. Oh no. Working with the theme that was handed to me. With lemons. You make some lemonade. That's how that goes.
Totally.
I love it too because if anyone's ever seen me play Minecraft on stream, you know that I'm more of a abstract build into the environment type person. So this is great. Why not? Beautiful. How much time do we have?
22 minutes.
22. Okay, I'd be fine. Absolutely fine, she says confidently as she's really hoping that all of a sudden. It's gone from, oh, I'm just winging it to, oh man, I have an idea. Uh-oh. I actually have to do the idea.
Oh.
Oh, goodness gracious, guacamoles.
Oh, he went outside.
Mine didn't.
Well, unlucky.
Sir, can I just kindly tempt you? No, I just... No, oh, okay, I didn't think about that. Can I... All right, sir. Sir. Wait, hold on. I have this. Ooh. Can you, like... No. No, you won't. You just make me scared. I'm gonna figure you out later. That's a later me problem. This is fine. This is fine. This is fine. There's not like an incentive to change our style, right?
No.
Okay, good. I don't want him to all of a sudden turn into a boom boom. That would be not great.
He's in my living quarters, though. That's unfortunate. Worst places you could have gone.
Up one more. God, I went quiet. I started taking it seriously. Chat. Help. I'm actually really excited, though. I feel like I like my idea a lot. He would be, wouldn't he? And luckily it's got Rhett's name. So we'll know.
Oops. Nope.
Man, I'm really not excited for having to finish this. Just ew. I am not good at finishing builds. I am good at getting them started. Finishing is scary. And the thing that General is very good at is like decorating and his designing. He's so Well, that was unnecessary to my heart. Why you gotta be like that? What? I mean, technically, all of you are gonna be judging us, so yeah. Beep boop beep boop.
I put that there. Will this let me? Oh, you can't. Dang it. Can't put a lead on a creeper.
I've tried it already. I was sad.
I'm there with you.
I'm there with you. I would like that as well. But nope. Fiddle flops.
Saddle does not work with them, no.
You want to go ride a creeper?
You want to go ride a creeper? Is that what you're saying?
Not me. I was not the one that suggested that.
All right.
Cool.
Cool. Do, 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 do. So you're telling me this is not a courthouse you guys have seen before? I call fiddlesticks.
I mean, it's very real chance they haven't seen my style either, so that's plausible.
I do think I would feel a little intimidated if I went to this courthouse. I think I would. I'd feel a little worried.
18, thank you.
18, thank you. I was just about to ask for a time check. Nah, I can't do that because then he's going to do the thing. Yeah, sorry, little buddy. Sorry. Bump, 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 bump. I'm like trying now to keep up with things that I'm doing. Chat, I'm doing a lot of work for you. I hope you're happy.
Shouldn't you be doing work for your build, not for that?
No. Ooh, Ooh. You know what I'm gonna do? You know what I'm gonna do?
And that's a good thing. Be really inconvenient if you don't know what you're gonna do.
I'm excited.
Didn't go out
how I wanted it to. Oh.
Sounds like
Hold
things
on.
are going well.
Hold on. Hold on. Hold on. Hold on. Hold on. This is fine. This is fine. We're okay. We're okay.
Chat,
Everything's fine. I need all of you to calm down right now. Can all of you just calm down? I just need chat chill because you are overreacting.
Very much sounds like the other one is overreacting. I do like when it's a very Penguin noise heavy stream, because then I could just get to not talk for a little bit and just focus, and Penguin will do all the sub commentary for me.
All right. Redo. I forgotteth a little bit. This is fine. I am able to adapt. You know what I really want them to build in Minecraft? Glass stairs. I think that could be cool.
Oh, yep. And see, Penguin doesn't experience these disrupts. These are disrupts only for me.
You're
Okay,
calm.
yep.
Good job, Wacky.
Those are purely for me.
Are they helping you?
Totally.
Oh no. I feel this one. You're not alone. I can't. Aim. Dip lock.
I have a solution.
Nope. Oh.
Okay, solution.
That was a lot. That was a lot. Oh.
Okay, I can kind of work with this.
Fine. Ow. Okay, this is fine. This is fine. Everything is gonna be great. Oh, I've messed up again. No. Yes. No. Yes.
I don't think she knows.
Yes. No. Well. Oh, wait. What? Counting with Penguin. Doot. This is fine.
Hey, there was nothing saying that I can't use the creative inventory to solve things. I just was smart and used milk, which was at my advantage. There's a difference. Penguin chooses not to use the bucket of milk in her inventory. Only because I hate the nausea. I won't, like, blindness and stuff, I won't. But nausea? Get rid of that. That's miserable. Still makes me stop and go through my creative inventory.
Dun. Oh no.
This. Maybe.
Nope. Alright, there we go. Very nice. Very nice.
How is the charge creeper on my roof? How have you done this?
He says, excuse me. Can we talk? 12 minutes. What? How is time going so fast?
What? English hard?
Yeah, English hard. English hard. English very hard. How did I do that?
Carefully, apparently.
I love the little robot buddy. All I know is aiming to get this finished, but then I'm really scared for the next builds.
Yep.
Not looking forward to those. Forgot I could fly for a second. Okay.
Time.
Time.
10 minutes.
What'd you say?
10.
10?
I've said it 3 times now. Pay attention.
Well, it didn't come through
Well,
the
it didn't
mic,
come through the
I
mic,
can't
and I
hear
can't hear you because my headphones.
Uh-huh.
Your wants to be louder.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
Dun, 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 dun. Then over here, we've got loud noises.
Am I truly happy with this build? Not really. Am I happy with it with the time that I have? Nah. It'll be acceptable for the time being. A little bit flat.
Unacceptable. Dun, 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 dun. Like having to really think about what do I want in these last moments. Dun, dun,
Yeah,
dun,
Penguin does read things later, so it is probably good to, kind of accelerate the timer that you give her.
I can't even be mad because it's true.
Yeah.
I can't. Now, General, are we doing the thing of once the next build starts, we cannot come back to this?
You tell me.
Yes, that's going to be the rule.
Oh.
Okay.
Oh, that looked like Batman for a second. I was very
Well.
confused.
This is fine. This is fine.
Well.
Okay.
My giant's just kind of chilling in a corner. Taking it well.
No. But pay attention, Mr. Giant.
My army of Retzevs are kind of chilling.
No. There you go. Come on. No. Eh.
7 minutes.
Rude. No, I'm busy.
That's cool.
Busy.
Time doesn't stop for anybody, unfortunately.
All right. You know what?
No.
Nope, that's not what I wanted. I'm sorry. Just gonna do this. There you go, bud. That's great. Helpers.
There's no helpers. Part of the rules.
That's part of the rules. No helpers.
No helpers.
Why no helpers? Time.
At 5:54. I just told you time 1 minute ago.
Yeah. I panic because I can't see anything. So then my brain goes, I don't know if I heard anything. I'm so sorry. Wait, why? Why now?
I have one good thing that'll come out of this build for next time. Who are you apologizing to?
The giant.
Five
Sir,
minutes.
could you get that way? Thank you. Oh yeah, absolutely. Beep, burp, beep, burp, burp, beep, burp, burp. Beep, 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 beep. Beep, 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 beep. Da, 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 da. Da, 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 da. Because remember, the goal of this is
Fundraise for St. Jude.
we do the yes, as well as creating a cohesive town. So we have builds, but we also have to figure out how we want it to be cohesive in itself. Eh. Okay. Burp, 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 burp. It looks like I'm yelling into it.
That does not look like what I'd hoped for. Made a ranch house.
Go. Now, I am so curious with you guys watching us. Is there other things that you would have done different?
Probably.
Probably. Is it fun to watch, or is it more of that, oh my gosh, please just do this thing?
Probably painful.
Probably. I think like build offs are some of my favorite things because it's just the what are you gonna do? What does your creative brain come up with?
2.5 minutes.
Thank you. Thank you. All right. I'm feeling pretty good. No. Nope. 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 Eh. Eh.
Do you not approve?
Do you not approve of how I do it?
I mean,
I think I did a pretty good job coming up with a way to do it. I am impressed. And I like.
One minute.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I think I'm just going to call it there.
Nope. Nah, I want him to keep it. Never mind.
All right.
All right. I like.
Let me check something.
Do, 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 do.
Okay, so the donation match just is not tracking correctly. There's only $125 left of the donation track or donation match. So for some reason on the overlay, it's showing that there's $125 claimed of it when that's not. Correct. So, not really sure what that's for. That's Is that the timer? I mean, we are very different in how we build in Minecraft, yes. Am I happy with my build? Probably not, honestly.
I was gonna say, you guys can see this. I wish I could see already the difference between us.
Oh.
So excited. All right, so General, do you want a break, or do you want me to spin the wheel and we start the next 45 minutes?
What would you like to do? Are you prepared for another round? Okay.
All right, so here is the wheel. So you're very creative. Thanks.
Is that a compliment or a subtle dig?
You know what? I take it as a compliment. Even if there's a dig inside there. All right, so again, I'm gonna spin the wheel. This is gonna tell us what the next thing needs. The next thing is gonna tell us what our next building or addition to this town is. We're trying to make the town be cohesive. So let's see what next. Why? A gym. So our next one needs to be. Trust me, I wrote these not even with like an idea of what to do. I didn't try, and I don't know how to theme this with a gym, but we're gonna
How do you
do
make
it.
that in Minecraft, Hardy? That's the problem. You see the two animals down in front of you, Penguin? They're all waiting. You guys can't see them, but they're waiting for treats. All right. Is it go time?
It's go time. It's go time.
3, 2, 1, go. I just think anything that's round in a square game. That's what I will tell you.
Okay.
Just a reminder, chat, we are $175 away from the server dragon fight. We are also $175 away from doing an RV Variant night. That has to be hit tonight for the 3,000 for the RV Variant night. That is only good tonight. So if you want to see that stream, that is the requirement for that. Otherwise, others can be hit. So...
My brain's having to like think, and it's hard. What do I want to do?
Okay.
Nope, that's not what I want. I feel like the first part of this is starting to. It's like what's the options? What are the things I can do?
That's it.
A thinking brain.
I feel that right
I
now.
know.
So. How you doing?
Thinking brain hard. I love a bad deal.
You gotta tell me what it is before I can tell you whether I want to make a bad deal or not. Mushy! Thank you for the resub. Welcome back. It's weird Minecraft music.
I don't even have any right now. Mine went off. I'm exploring the blocks to try to figure out what to do. Explore.
Managed to incorporate a bike. Okay, all right.
Is that for
It
both
says
of
if
us or
both.
just him?
If both.
Okay. So if both incorporate bike. Okay. Dial.
No, I mean, it's only a deal if you'd managed to do it.
Deal I will attempt. How about that?
Sure.
Man, oh man, oh man, oh man, oh man, oh man, oh man. Now it comes into paralysis of decisions.
I'm just making something and hoping that I can fix it in post.
Bump, 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 bump. already dislike what I have done.
Well, I hate what I'm doing, but I at least have something.
Oh, wow, my brain hurt. God. Heh. All right, there we go. I figured it out. Figured it out. Nope. Immediately did not figure it out.
There's ulterior motives, yes.
Did you just shush chat?
Yeah, they're giving you spoilers.
Oh. It's okay, I didn't notice.
It's kind of two-sided what this can be for in reference to like what it is. And I know I'm adding windows to a gym, which actually would be taboo, but just pretend that they're not that see-through, because otherwise a solid block Minecraft build just looks terrible. I tried doing it with no windows and it just looks really bad. It's just too much block. The line.
Too much block.
Really? I know a lot of them don't do windows anymore because it's like, oh, well, we don't want you to see what's inside. You got to come in. And it's like, well, I don't want to come in anymore.
Say, I know the gym that I was going to for a little bit, they have windows for like the treadmill area so you can stare outside as you're running.
That feels dystopian. Yeah, when I did running for prep for stuff, I won't lie, I couldn't do the treadmill. It sucked. I tried. It did not work.
Ooh, I have a cow mooing at me.
Nope, not gonna say it.
What?
Your gym's motivation mascot.
Oh!
The only thing that felt appropriate. Trying to think of like, doors can't be done like that. There's a lot of bad stuff in this build. That's the least of my worries. Got a lot more things to work out. Like, what the heck is a gym machine in this going to look like? I don't even have the beginnings of that in my head. And just a note, also, if you didn't notice, chat, that donation match does expire tonight. If it's not matched tonight, it goes away. So it has to be matched before the end of stream, if you would like to see that match complete. Now, is there a chance they set it so that it donates regardless, and there's still some of that donation that comes in? Sure. There's a chance that they didn't. And I will tell you,
You never
I have no idea. Tiltify does not tell you. You have no idea what they've set it to. So it is entirely up to you of, do you take that chance? That wasn't even crowd control.
Rain.
If it's not crowd control, I can clear it. I don't feel bad about that. If somebody does it with crowd control, then I won't.
Chat, how do you feel that you have set the theme for my entire town?
Okay, I don't build roofs first. built roofs first?
Thank you.
Thank you for the 50 Seuss. I want to double check because the dashboard isn't working correctly. That puts us at $2,925, $75 away from the server dragon fight. Ah, thank you for the resub. From the server dragon fight, as well as the RV There Yet stream. So if you'd like to see those. Oh, hate that.
Okay.
Well, that's a thing.
Well, that's a thing.
Oh, no. I hate this so much for one reason. So,
God.
I can't use a water bucket to get rid of these.
What do you mean that?
What do you mean that bucket?
No, you ruined my floor.
You ruined my floor.
I had a
That's such sad
concrete powder
phrase.
floor. Oh, well played. Well played. You ruined my floor. Oh.
Thank you.
Oh. Hey, Mushy, thank you for the $100 donation. And that completes Zelda's... Oh, that completes Zelda's match.
Oh, okay.
Okay, that's a problem.
That's a problem.
That's a problem. That's
Big
Let's see if
That's a
Penguin
big
knows how to
problem.
fix this.
What?
Let's see if
What?
Penguin can figure out how to fix it.
What do you mean?
What do you mean?
The-
I feel like you should tell me. How do you fix it?
Minecraft logic. Figure it out. There is a way to fix this. It's how you get through sea temples as well.
Okay, hold
This
on.
is
Okay,
basic
put my
Minecraft
finger
knowledge.
A thinker, you said
Don't give hints.
I'm stuck.
Yeah. I feel like this one should be much more expensive.
Oh god.
Oh god.
Oh god. I had an idea, but I don't think it's doing anything. Okay, if I can't get rid of this, that's at least funny. This is gonna take too much time.
Oh.
Oh. I don't know. I'm at a loss. That's okay. We adapt. We adapt. This is fine. This is fine. This is Nope. I don't know. I got nothing.
That's okay.
That's okay.
We move on.
We move on. We move on. That's fine. This is fine. Woo. Let's see here. Oh, poor little guy. All right. Well, let's see. What were we doing? Let's do this. Let's do this.
Oh, that's the wall.
This is hard.
How is there 32 minutes? How?
How? Still have stuff to do.
I barely have anything right now.
I'm just upset because I thought I found a solution. I wish it would work.
Yeah, I feel like this one needs to be much more expensive. I think this is too cheap for this, no matter what it is. Because having it be replace air, that's rough.
I don't know if I found a solution or not. But oh my gosh. If this is seriously how it has to happen, I'll be here forever. Oh my gosh. Is this seriously? Is this seriously? This is fine. Everything's fine. This is fine. Everything's fine.
Sounds very convinced.
Convinced. The thing that I'm not excited is the after.
I mean,
I was gonna say, we will be here for a while.
oh,
Thanks. Oh no, I don't like what it's doing to it. Do you see? I can't even make progress now. No!
I'm really curious after these 30 minutes are up to find out what she's doing. But seriously, anyway, thank you for the donations, everybody. We're at $3,100, so that means you get the dragon fight and you get RB there yet, so that'll make C happy. I know C was so upset at Wheatley last night. I felt so bad. Oh, it was good. So someone tell C. I feel like when we play, we need to have C and Wheatley together as well, so that we can witness their meltdown together.
Is it working?
Just have a wall of water now. Some of my water went between the invisible block. It's got a waterfall.
Oh my gosh. You do helps. You absolutely do helps. Totally.
Okay, so I'm not building with concrete powder anymore. That's a given. That's out the window. Every time I build with concrete powder, I politely request that you don't, because I think both of us might throw in the towel, literally and figuratively. Oh, that's rough. That's rough. I mean, it's for charity though, so if you
I was gonna say, it's that thing you might be hearing us complain, but thank you for the donations.
We know that once timer's up, it's all over. So we appreciate all of you. It just it sucks.
This is not a serious build conversation.
I don't know what I was doing anymore. What was I doing?
I have an idea.
That took
So I'm
my
excited.
train of thought. Like everything's just a blob of shape now.
Everything
I
is
appreciate
awesome.
all of you no less. If anything, I appreciate you more. I just dislike you more. There's a difference. You gotta figure out which the line is, because this.
Oh
Nope.
my god. Ooh, that scared me. Okay, this is fine.
Is
This is
it?
fine. This is fine. No, but it's fine.
Don't forget you need to put a bike in.
I know that. I have an idea of what to do with that already.
Bite you too.
We just have to get there. I think I realize what I need to do. Maybe. Hey,
Hello?
rude.
Get off my head. My building now has a oceanside view. Stop putting it on my head. Do I have any clue why I'm doing what I'm doing? No, not the slightest.
Hey, cow just agreed.
Oh.
Whoa. That was scary.
Oh, these aren't responding.
Jesus.
These lights have
Thank
just
you.
given up. Ah,
Thank you.
thank you for the $5 donation. Which animal would you like named? Penguin is the keeper of the naming of the animals. So
I will absolutely do that.
Oh, it's rainy.
Oh, it's rainy. I would never know.
It's so
It's so moist.
oh, I know how to what is that's it. Are they your friends still after this? Because I don't know if they're my friend. No, we appreciate it. Thank you so much for the donation, too. Seriously. People coming in that aren't aware of the stream and are still donating, you have no idea how much that means to us. Seriously.
I was going to say, y'all are the best. We do this out of
Madness?
kindness, having fun. You guys are amazing. It's just so moist everywhere. I can't wait till we're done to see what we've both done to this.
Oh, that's not. Shh. We can't handle that news.
What? What?
Oops.
It just is.
You're scared. Look at what we've done.
Look at what you've done. They're scared.
Wote ad. Got it. We got a wote ad.
Time
You
check?
just had one in the chat.
Where? Where? Oh, okay.
Actually, I need to move this back.
Oh,
Is this actually...
I have an idea.
Oops. Oops. God. This is going well. Nope.
Is it?
Absolutely. It's flawless. You need to go back one. You need to go back. You need to get dropped down.
I'm doing things and I know I'm wasting time. Like, I know what I'm doing is not helpful. But I can't just stop. This is so painful.
Go with that. All right, it's not perfect, chat. It's not perfect, but it's kind of an exercise bite. Does it work? Does it work, chat? You've got handlebars. You've got wheels. This is more of like the trainer instead of the actual wheel because you don't want it moving and running away. You better say it's beautiful because that's what I got. Like nothing.
They're beautiful. They're beautiful.
It's terrible.
It's
Oh,
true.
I'm so used to the mods. I keep trying to find stairs of things that don't have actual stairs in the main game. That's so upsetting. I feel like, in honor of what you all have done, we're going to do this.
The thing is, you guys said that I was creative in the other one. Wait till you see what I have planned for this nonsense. Wait till you see. I has idea. That the water's so strong. You guys think you defeated me? Can't defeat this.
All right, Rhett, that's for you.
Me taunting?
No. It's not taunting. Oh. See, Rhett likes it.
Yay! I will make sure I add mine because it has to be both of us, right?
Oh, that's not what I'm talking about.
Oh, never mind. It is so moist. It's raining. I'm in water. I feel like I'm getting
PG charity stream. PG charity stream. No, that's no. I was never. You focus on your own thing. I was. Never mind.
Okay.
This. I'm not gonna lie. This looks horrible. It's so bad. I'm not happy with this. But, I mean, if I at least have a building, it might be better than 10 points.
I am going to overcome. This is going to be great. This is awesome.
Anybody want to make the weather clear? I won't clear it because it was a crowd control redeem. But I would love it to be nice, though. I think I've had enough of water. I think I'm done. I feel like you guys are tormenting us with water.
Moisture everywhere.
Oh, thank God. Thank you. It's wonderful.
All right. You two, I need you not to be so scared anymore. Can I move them? Can you, like, come here? Well, you know, they just got very scared and they're excited.
That's the thing, is I love when, you know, we go to, like, or we attend conversations about, you know, oh, charity incentive ideas and everything, and everybody's like, oh, you know, people want to be kind, so just make kind incentives instead of ones that are punishments. And I'm like, you don't understand. You don't know. No, it doesn't work like that. I've tried. That works. It's blight on society here with my building. Don't mind me. This is what you've done, chat. This is all you. It has nothing to do with my wants or desires. This is your fault. Just would like you to know.
Just wait till you see mine.
Oh, it's I'm sure it's gonna be the dual-sided misery here.
I got stuck.
There's aims that I had, Rhett. I will tell you that much.
All I know is I haven't worked on this so-called gym in a while.
Are you still trying to fix the water problem?
No, I wouldn't say fix.
That's concerning. Hardy. There's knowledge here. There's knowledge, yeah. Okay, so trying to fix the issue if there's ever more rain. I'm gonna do this early because Hardy gets on to me when I don't. As I chuck it on the floor. Hopefully you're all enjoying our stress bed. Yeah. So I think Penguin's going to want to break after this one, I have a feeling.
I'm good. Thank you, though.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'm doing great. Excuse me, sir. Excuse me. Oh, that was weird. Did you encounter a sound problem?
No.
Okay. Just me then. No worries.
Sounds like it.
Gorgeous. All right.
Get rid of this for the moment. 15 minutes. Did you just roll over a pup's foot?
No.
Yeah, he jumped up pretty quick. I don't know.
If it did it, didn't mean to. All right, back to the tasks that were long ago. Nope, that's not. Nope, that's not it. Oh man.
Helps if I can spell.
That's what I'm trying to do.
What? He's talking about me. Oh, that's too long.
Sit. Up. Right, now I'm gonna start tying this stuff in together. Whoops. Get the. All right. How's that look?
Did you make a bike?
Uh-huh. I am proud of my bike. I put something in here that makes noise. Ah! And I didn't know it was going to make noise. But now I'm amused. Sorry, cow.
Oh. Fire control. Having issues over there? This is way too chill Minecraft music in my ears.
Excuse me. I haven't had music in ages.
Do you have it turned down so you don't hear it?
That's a possibility.
Oh.
All I know is I just hear water. Lots of water.
Why would I not do this? Already basically made for it. Duh. Why reinvent?
No. That poor cow is just so stuck. All right, don't need that anymore. How much time?
12 and a half minutes.
12 and a half minutes. Okay, thank you.
Already. Oh, that actually would be a better use of that. There.
Hopefully you guys approve.
Normally I can be proud of my builds. I'm not.
Doing this.
What?
Can you be proud of what you've overcome?
Sure. Sure, we'll go with that. I did, but I had a build in mind, so I had to.
Thank you.
Why did that not show up over there? Rhett, I see that. As long as why? What is happening to all of the tools for this season? Why is this a thing? Why?
Why are you like this?
Because
Oh man, this.
you did right. What? I'm so confused.
About to do a thing that I don't want to do, but I'm gonna
Okay,
do it.
there you go. Yes, it did. Like, nothing is working. Even on the live donations. Oh, live updates on that? I don't know. I don't know anymore. Everything's broken. Everything's broken. Thank you so much, though. Apparently, we have done good enough on the bikes.
That didn't do what I wanted it to.
Those are the serious weights, chat. The real weights. You have an idea.
All right. Good enough for me. Good enough for me.
Then
Faster, faster.
why don't I do that? Maybe. That might be a little. That's a little excessive. We're not going to do that. That's. We don't have strongman competitions in here.
Bum, ba, bum. That wasn't right. I'm very curious now for what our last one's gonna be.
I don't want to think about it. It's already bad enough.
I'm trying to think of what my other options on there were.
I hope it's something a little bit more simple and straightforward. You have gotten the two most difficult things.
Yeah, I will say there's some that aren't that way.
I feel like a gym is one of the worst ones we could have gotten.
I'll admit that's pretty bad. That's pretty bad.
Like, how gym equipment in Minecraft on a small scale is miserable. It's not my skill set.
You asked me to come up with things. I did it.
I regret things.
You haven't seen the rest of the wheel and what the possible options are.
I'm not going to talk about that. Exactly, Hardy. That's the problem. Okay, that's acceptable.
It's good. It's good.
Like, I can accept the losing of XP. I will abide. Now.
The thing is that we have one more build, so I have to make sure I leave space for whatever that build is. A little concerned about space.
See, this is something that I did that is a solve for that. 7.5 minutes.
Thank you. Thank you. Oh my God, really?
Yep.
Big
Hey,
yikes.
look, it's the water wall. Not to be confused with Wonderwall. They're not happy with their song.
I was just about to do that. Okay. Goodness, how has time done this?
Think of how to make that. Chad, I'm stumped. It's not good. Today's gonna be the day. Okay. I'm assuming you're talking Wonderwall. Just my guess. Okay. There's your pull-up bar. It glows. Don't question it. Might be radioactive. We don't ask about it. You know what I could have done? I could have done like a running track around the whole thing. That would have been smart, but that nope. Get sick with me, chat.
No.
Oh no.
Why are they getting sick?
Why are they getting sick with you?
Nah, I threw my camera around because I was trying to figure things out.
Eh.
Have I also mentioned that I haven't been in a gym since college? I don't like gyms. Why I have a home setup. A turf area for a sled push. What kind of gyms are you going to? A high-class gym. Frog spawn? I didn't know that was a base block now. What
There we
the
go.
heck? Oh, I have an idea of what I can work on.
Can't
Do
do thing. Yeah.
We'll do this.
Brain hurteth.
Yup.
Oh god.
Oh god.
This
This angle, I'm very glad no one is like getting like is that stuck angle? That no.
Yeah.
Yeah, words are hard.
Don't worry, Chad. I'm not working on another building. I'm working on the ambiance.
Ambiance.
Is it going to look good? Probably not. Is it what I'm doing? Absolutely. I really didn't leave myself enough space, but it is what it is at this point. I don't really have a choice. It's what I've given myself to work with. Nope.
Boop, 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 boop. That
Just
didn't
under
work.
5 minutes.
Thanks. Chat, I smart. Dun, 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 dun. My brain. Dun, dun, dun. Bump, 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 bump. Beautiful.
A little
Gorgeous.
over 3 minutes.
Love it. Da, 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 da. Ba, ba, da.
This is now stuck in your head.
True. Yes, I need help.
Oh, you didn't want help.
For the song, I need help.
There's no help to be had.
Rude.
But true. God, my builds are ugly tonight.
I'm really scared of what's gonna come next.
Like, without, like, I think the biggest detriment for me is because I've been building on the server. I'm so used to other things that we don't have here. So I'm like mentally prepping for certain things, and I don't have the ability to use those because they're not a thing. And going back to vanilla build, just like it's really difficult if that's not what you've been building. And I have not been building in vanilla lately.
Time.
It's in the chat.
What?
In the chat.
Dose. Ah!
Chat tries to help you, and then you don't trust them. Bad chat.
Not that I don't trust them.
Well, you should trust them that they're going to give you answers.
Oh.
Oh, okay. I understand. I should be anticipating.
Hello there.
I should anticipate more.
Yeah, you should anticipate that chat wants to help you.
Giant, I'm sorry.
She's not.
What do you mean?
She's not sorry.
I'm totally sorry.
I don't know what I'm going to do for a minute, so I'm just going to leave it. I feel like I'll make it worse if I touch it. $60 seconds.
We.
Oh my god. This is... I mean, at least I got one piece that works. I got that going for me. Oh, I'm happy though. We've hit $3,100, so that's a pretty good amount. I'm not gonna lie. I'm very, very thankful for chat. 30 seconds. I wasn't sure what we would hit this year because I know this year is a really rough year for everybody. So to be able to still hit these numbers is really nice. 15 seconds.
Oh god, I needed all of that.
Pup is pacing. And so we do have to give treats in a gap after this. Because we did receive a treat for the pup. Tom.
Okay.
Why did we agree to do this again?
Chat, I love my
Oh my
cohesion
God,
here.
it's so stressful.
Wonderful.
Oh. All right. You want to do pup treats?
Yeah.
Penguin plays 7 blocks after time.
What? Oh, okay, let me take them down. Hold on. I got this. 1, 2. It's probably these. 3, 4, 5, 6. Is that it? Okay. How about that? Is that fair? Do I need to remove more? Tell me, chat. I will remove more if I need to. Okay. Alrighty. Let me do puppy treat. And is it just puppy?
It is just, well, I mean, it's pup treat, so. And just a note, chat, if we hit 4K raised, the Fever Fighter final will unlock. So you're getting to our last giveaway. Well, giveaway. Incentive.
Alright. Puppy, are you excited?
He's like, look at me. I'm adorable. He's like, no, it didn't fall. Oh, okay.
Alright. Yeah, come here. There you go. Up. There you go. Up. Good boy.
Ham.
Good boy.
Did you give him 2?
Nope, I gave him 1.
He gets 2. It was $100. He's like, I am short, but please change it.
Down.
He's like, I don't like that one. That makes me further away from the tree.
Good job. Thank you.
We don't really know all the different tricks because he kind of does them himself. Like, it's not.
He was trained before we got him, so we've been learning them.
Yeah, I mean, we didn't have to really teach him anything. He just dances on his own. All right, so I'm gonna bring us back to the chatting scene because, oh my God, did we? Oh, okay, there it is. I was gonna say, did we break it?
Oh God.
Oh, who's bouncing? Oh, they're bouncing. They're bouncing. Cute. It's not ended. Oh, it's settled. Oh, no. Oh, keep going. To the left, a little to the left, to the right, to the left, to the right, to the left. Okay. We'll take a quick break for a StJude video, and we'll figure out what the last 45 minutes is going to bring us. I'm concerned.
We already saw what type of buildings I have in store for
Building
us.
is a nice way to phrase what's happened for me.
Okay, well,
think what a town had. What other round? Okay, do you want to hear? Or should
No,
it be
we're
a
not
surprise?
gonna give everything away. No, we're going to go to a video. It's bad. All right, I'm gonna mute and deafen in Discord. I'll play a video and we will be back, chat.
St. Jude is the light. The light in the darkness, the light in the fog, the light at the end of the tunnel. Because you don't recognize light without dark.
Micah has always been so strong, and he would run literally for 3 hours and never stop. And that day we went and played 30 minutes, and he came back and said, "Can we go home?" And I noticed he looked a little pale. That was on a Tuesday. On Friday, he was diagnosed. And I can still remember how he looked that day.
Micah was diagnosed with acute lymphoblastic leukemia at the age of 5, and he is currently being treated at St. Jude.
So when you first hear the word cancer, you think this is a nightmare come to life, and so we were pretty scared.
When we got to the hospital, it was extremely overwhelming because at that point it was a confirmation. It was like, we're actually here. This is real.
But as we got into St. Jude and started talking with the doctors, being informed by them helped us really breathe. And it lessened the blow, and it really encouraged us that it wasn't as dark and grim as we originally thought.
I knew that no matter what happened, we were going to be taken care of and it was going to be okay. And I decided to be strong so that he can be strong. But what was so funny is Micah actually became the strong one, and we were leaning on him because he just took everything like it was okay. And so he was my sunshine. At this point, he is thriving and doing well.
And for us, it's really taken a huge burden off knowing that we don't have to worry about being in debt from medical expenses. For St. Jude to be able to do groundbreaking research and tender care and everything else that they offer, I mean, it really is an incredible thing.
For those that support St. Jude, they saved my son too. St. Jude wouldn't be able to do all those amazing things and give the families the freedom of not having to worry about all of the costs that come with it if it weren't for donors.
St. Jude is a tremendous blessing, not only to my family, but to children around the world. And you told me that St. Jude is the saint of lost causes. Because of St. Jude, children's cancer is no longer a lost cause.
All right. Welcome back, chat. Probably going to be your last video. Well, I can't say your last video of charity season because we are going to do one or two more kind of unscheduled, not as heavy hitting streams later. We'll still have, fundraising up, but it won't be like this. This is where we put all the time and effort into. So, but yeah, when I mentioned donors, that's you. That's not us. That's you. So remember that. That's why we really appreciate you, because all of these videos that talk about donors, that's you guys. That's not us. We are the fundraisers. You are the donors. We are nothing without all of you giving money.
Are the donors. You are the donors. No. I'm done.
I don't know if Penguin's okay. I'm not quite sure anymore. All right. I think Penguin has lost the marbles. The marbles have disappeared. All right.
What? Marbles?
Debatable. All right. One last 45-minute block. That is it.
Are we ready?
No, but Penguin's brain is too moist.
Dude, water gym will forever live.
Okay.
Okay, so we have a courthouse and a gym. What else does our town get to have?
Debatable if they're either for me, but you know, hey.
A post office. Every good town needs a post office.
This is the most random town in existence.
A courthouse, a gym, and a post office. You get to message people. You get to communicate. Get your,
Get
ads
sued.
in the mail. You can go have court, and you can go get worked out. Yeah, it's fine.
All right. 3, 2, 1, go. I have no idea. Why? Don't give ideas like that. Don't do that.
That was on there.
God. How? I told you it was a 50 by 50. Oh, okay. We're back to stormy weather. We're sad again. That is actually seeing that. That is actually. I feel like that's appropriate.
Oh my god! I just noticed Chat TC this. I didn't realize this is where everything went. That's kind of amazing. Okay.
This chat. This has the classic feel, right? This makes sense. I feel like I was gonna build something else, and then this kind of called to me as like this feels like nostalgic post office.
It's
very
now, lady.
All right. I don't like this as an even number. Never build in evens. Bless you.
Be blessed.
Pup. Are your headphones that good that you did not hear the pup sneeze?
Yeah, these headphones are amazing.
Okay, that's concerning for your safety.
My headphones are amazing.
For the record, chat, pup sneezes are pretty monstrous. So to not hear the pup sneezes is pretty intense. Boo. What do I want to do? 3's the limit. That's the rule. I don't make them. I just follow them. 3 is the rule for sneezes. Oh my god. Pretty bad. And then we'll do this. Again, Minecraft, the super chill music is unsettling. Nope. I feel like I do feel like I've disadvantaged myself for the fact that I've built so much stuff recently for the server. That like when we were doing Monday, the reason I went into survival is like I could do the creative plots, but I don't know what to build anymore. Is that your sneezes? Is that Timer's lucky. Doesn't have to deal with these. That was you earlier. Oh, Rathic, why? I mean, sure, yeah, well, oh, God. What is this? Oh, boy, okay. Oh, that was miserable. Hate that.
Bark, bark, bark. La 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 la. I was just about to ask. Thank you.
Yeah, the irony with Penguin making all these noises, she did almost end up doing a My Voice Sue stream for charity season.
Yeah.
It was going to be that or baby steps. I don't know whether you should be happy or sad that you missed out on that.
Say, I don't know. That depends on you guys.
It's a very random post office, by the way. I don't really have a good plan of what's happening here. I feel like the plan has gone out the window. I'm just now building to get something built. I did at a bigger post office, sure. You haven't been to a small town post office, have you? Let me tell you, they don't have much.
I can tell you, I haven't even started the post office yet.
Oh my God, what are you doing?
I'm not going to tell you, but I haven't started it yet. As a plan.
That's concerning.
I'm focusing on one of the other judging criterias.
I was working on that as we built.
This city. Built this city from rock and roll. Built this city. Built this city from rock and roll.
Is that a charged creeper that just happened?
I hope not.
How did I get... Oh, okay. Well, that's an interesting one. Don't know how that happened. Huh. Guess we're gonna fix this, because that'll bug me.
So excited for voting tonight. I have high hopes. Chad, I'm curious. Oh, thank goodness. For those that have seen the previous years of Build Off. Oh. I hate that. How are you feeling so far with this one? Ask Curious. This is a different version than what we've done before. Oh, thank you. I'm so happy to have it gone.
Gone silent and focused. 36 minutes.
There you go. I'll eventually start on the post office.
That's concerning.
I had other things that I wanted to do first. No, I think, like, compared to the other years, this has been a really interesting one. of how chat is interacting with the world and what it's done to us time-wise or design-wise.
That's one way to put it.
For those that haven't been here in the past, we've done stuff in like survival. We've done some races in survival. So this was interesting to have like a enclosed area, which I think, yeah, normally. So it's been interesting to see what you guys have done to impact it, and I would say it's been pretty impactful. That water, not cool. Not cool.
That put me in a wall. Where?
Rude.
What the heck? Oh wait. Oh wait. What type of tree did you get? Yeah.
Me? Spruce?
What kind of jungle tree?
Oh.
I see. Thanks.
Is it part of the post office branch?
Don't give Red ideas. It's dangerous.
I'm helping.
That's the problem.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
Rathic?
Well, this I can fix at this point, because...
That was so much. There's so much.
That helps at least a little bit. Actually, yeah, there's no...
All right, I think I'm now going to start on the post office. I think I would like to do that now. Oh my god. I can't get distracted by this. Rathic, what have you done? 33 minutes.
Curious if Penguin knows the tricks of how to fix these problems. Oops, that's the wrong block.
Thank you. That was helpful. The only issue is where some of it has happened. I'm sorry? There we go. Okay.
Solve that.
Figured it out. All right, that's good enough. I'm getting distracted. Getting distracted. Maybe I am distracted. How about that?
You are a distraction.
I am these distract.
English is hard.
English is very hard. Okay. Focus, focus, focus. I can focus.
Alright.
I'm sad. Did your giant go away?
I will be honest, I have not looked.
My giant's gone. It's sad. I'm distracted. Rathic, what have you done to me?
That's an interesting one. I didn't know. That's weird.
Distracted, distracted,
Realize I could do that
distracted.
differently.
Holy shit, insane.
Oh.
That was uncalled for.
I think actually, I think Brett did call for it. I mean, you know, go out on a limb.
Just a limb.
Hey, Becca, how's it going? It's sad we didn't get to see you this year, but life was life.
Don't pass out.
But you don't have to stay. We appreciate seeing you. We're stressing ourselves because we're doing a Minecraft build off and chat has made life miserable. blaming chat.
Everything is Chad's fault.
Always. Chat's fault. Or chat's fault. Yeah, chat's fault is always how English works. You're delaying tacos just to watch this? That's impressive. 30 minutes. Then that means I want to get the traditional look going. That direction I want to do that? I want to do it the other way.
I had an idea in my head of what to do, and then I started doing it, and I'm like, wait, this doesn't make sense.
Story of a penguin's life.
Have you ever had this problem? Oh, why?
Why?
I'm just going to stand here for a moment.
Stop it. I'm just gonna say, E. E. E.
E.
Is
Actually,
it done?
let's not do that. Let's do... Oh. We weren't there anyways, so... Oh, hate that. That sucks. That's the reason you weren't able to go. That's... Oh my god. Why, world? Why is the world so weird lately? Don't answer that. I don't actually want the answers to that, please. I've got enough. Rhetorical. We'll do that. Nope. Have I mentioned I hate placing stairs? Weird because you're in it. It's beautiful because you're in it.
All right, there we go. My brain. My brain is doing great things.
You're Brian.
Like getting my Brian. Are you like breaking glass over there? Because I don't see like anything popping up for that. It's freaking me out.
I think you're just having a mental breakdown.
Tacos have come up in this chat as well today. Beware.
I feel like tacos are just a general conversation topic in this chat. I don't know why. It just is.
It's not even Tuesday.
Didn't say it was. Like I said, it doesn't make sense. It's just a thing. I mean, touche. All right, so here's controversial topic and question. Flour or corn tortillas?
What's happening to them?
Doesn't matter.
Very big difference.
Doesn't matter.
It's a big difference. You got to know what's going on with them.
Hey, Cheerio, how's it going? It's just there's no caveats. Ooh.
I don't understand.
See, I can't do corn tortillas. Pretty much a blanket answer for me is I will never pick corn tortillas. I mean, I'll eat them. If they're given to me, I'll eat them. But I don't like corn tortillas. I don't know if I've ever had a blue corn tortilla. I've had the chips, but not tortilla. So I mean, get by proxy, I guess I kind of have. I don't think that counts. Wow.
My brain.
Donate to tell me I'm wrong. How about that? I don't know if I've ever had an undercooked corn tortilla. I definitely don't think that's the reason I don't like them, for me at least. So for corn tortillas, hard versus soft. I'm just gonna stir the pot.
Hot beef stirreth.
I like seeing where people go with these things. Like when I was younger, it used to be hard all the time. Well, that's unfortunate, Becca. I don't, Red. I don't think that's how that works. No, there's not hard flour tortillas, but I figured everybody said corn for the most part, so figured I'd have to ask the question. Yeah, no, if we're talking flour tortillas, then yeah, no. I mean, I'm not denying that it's probably good, Red. I see. That's for yeah. I don't know. I feel like I can stuff a lot more in a flour tortilla. That's probably why I like it too. Oh, Casper has woken up.
It's okay, buddy. It's okay. It's okay.
Casper's like, has anybody called for me in my sleep? 25 minutes left.
He wakes up such a big mew.
Yes, he does. He's such a baby. If he gets near to this side, I'll turn the camera on for him, but I highly doubt he will.
I don't know if you guys could hear that. I hope you could.
This is such a terrible looking front to a post office. I don't know what the goal was here. I don't have a good answer. Like I said, my brain is fried from designing stuff lately, so this is not good. Less than ideal over here. Minecraft does not. If we had a mod, it does. I don't know. I'm gonna shut my mouth on that one. Tread carefully.
Easy. Easy. We have how much time?
24 minutes. I actually feel like I have too much time.
For a post office?
God, it looks ugly, though. Ugh. What have I done to this atrocity? I'm not happy about this. Oh, wow. I swear I know how to build. I do.
It's okay. Just wait till you see mine. It'll make you feel better.
Let's see. Will this... Oh, no. I don't want to take away the bottom layer. If I do this, is that going to be, like, too glaring? Yeah, no. Ugh, it's ugly. Maybe... try to add a little bit of...
Let's see here.
I don't
What
like,
did I want?
I'm not a huge fan of boiled food. Boiled food is too mushy for me. Can't do it.
Mushy?
That helps a little bit. Not a lot. Nope. Stop trying to take the bottom block. No. Oh my god. Falling to pieces here, chat. Been a long week.
Here we go. Wait. No. Don't do it. Don't do it.
What are we not doing?
I'm just talking to things that I put in, and then they're behaving in certain ways. You know.
Exactly.
The usual.
Yep. 100%. I absolutely know what you're talking about.
I'm a silly goose.
So, chat, how's it going? This is totally what you hoped for this, right? Oh, it hurts.
I can't wait to see what you're doing.
Oh.
Oh god, how'd you get... Excuse you.
Nobody should see this. This is an atrocity.
You know what?
Actually, that probably shouldn't be there. We're gonna do this.
Boop. He.
Oh, thanks, Red.
He. Okay. What do we got? This. What did I want? No. We have time? Nope, that's not what I wanted. Nope. There we go. Hi, buddy.
Yeah, I think Penguin realizing about the whole thing with water, replace. Yeah, Penguin, do you want to know what the secret is? Sponges.
What? Oh, I know.
How did you fail with sponges then?
You're gonna you'll find out when you're here.
Oh, okay.
But I have made it work for me.
I'm so not happy with literally anything right now. Oh man.
I figured out the trick. I just didn't utilize the trick very well.
I see.
Oh, rude.
Okay.
Very rude.
All right. I see how it is.
That was rude.
Just slowly moving away from post office and turning into something that I don't know. Odd. Oh boy.
Are you making things?
Oh, that I didn't. What? How did I? Oh, that's not how that works. That's not how that works at all. Oh, that's not how that works either. Nah, I appreciate you all being so good. You really shouldn't be.
Do you guys think mine looks good too? You're giving him a lot of compliments. I've noticing that. How am I doing? So anyone that's just coming into this, basically what we have done tonight.
Cause chaos? Yeah, agreed.
I'm gonna lift up real fast. So General and I are doing a build off, and we have done 45 minutes of building different structures. So technically there's 3 different structures we had to build. The first one was a courthouse, and how did we decide this? The wheel of structure. So basically, we spun the wheel and it randomly gave us a thing. And so we had to do a courthouse, we had to do a gym, and a post office. And then the goal is to make the whole plot be cohesive. So, hey, I made it work. And General and I, of course, can't see each other. When this is done, we'll be doing voting.
I have no idea what I'm doing, chat. Please stop me. But I'm now doing inane things that should not be done. This is not good.
So stick around for when this is done, because you guys get to vote on who has the best town, including cohesion. Does each building make sense? Ooh, rescued me.
My entire invisible wall is filled with torches. Oh, what?
What is that? What is this?
I can't in creative.
In creative, I can't.
Oh, no. Oh, I'm stuck. I'm stuck. I can't. I'm stuck. I don't know. I'm stuck in the wall. I'll just do this and see if it works. See if this counts.
Oh! Wow! Wow!
Nope, it does not.
Wow!
It does not solve. Oh, hi.
Uh-oh. Go to your room. Go away.
Game mode spectator.
Go away.
Cool. I'm back in my world.
Get out of my area.
Okay, so oh my god. Oh, hi. Okay, I'm over here now.
Rude. Rude.
Right.
So bright.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So excited.
So excited.
Did you use zero gravity on us when we're in creative?
Oh.
Oh, wee! But it does mess with
Does
you.
it?
If you're not flying.
Oh, I don't think I've really touched on the floor.
Brett, I am so happy. You have no idea.
Oh, okay.
Oh, that's just rude.
Oh my god, the torches. I'm so upset because I can't fix all of them. Oh, Pup is high gravity. Oh, I'm gonna drown. Jesus. Alright, I'm just gonna stay over here for a minute. Alright, I think I can go back to creative now because that's over. I can... There we go. I waited the full time. I didn't want to, oh, nope. I didn't want to undo something that you've done. That just...
Can we get
Yes,
to creative?
you can get back to creative. Because it doesn't, for some reason, it doesn't put you back into creative. Oh, hate that one. Invert camera. Are you not getting hit with that?
No.
Excuse me. Excuse me.
I have no invert issues.
That's a weird one. You can fill an invisible block with water. Oh, hate that.
Like trying to not touch anything so I can stay where I am. This is very hard.
13.5 minutes. Okay, I think there's torches in here. Oh my god, there is. Oh, thanks. Thanks, sweetie.
Oh, thanks. Appreciate that, bud. So.
Oh, hi. Thanks.
Take the gifts.
I take the gifts. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Wonderful. It's okay. Thank you.
All right. Oh, I gotta take both.
Great.
Okay.
Great. Wonderful. Appreciate it.
Oh.
Thank you. Oh, we're so good.
Oh,
Thank
no,
you.
we're not using that. Oh, God. We're not going to talk about what you gifted me. Maybe at the end of this all. Maybe that's... Oh, hi. Okay.
My God, there's stuff everywhere.
Thank God I'm not using torches. Oh, okay.
Well, that was weird. What?
I hate torches. Torches are the worst thing.
I dislike everything. No.
What have I done?
What have I done?
What have I done?
Chat, what have I done?
What did I do?
What did I do?
Oh, you know what I realized? In that whole water challenge, I could have just used an empty bucket and just kept going around. Oh, wow. That hurts my brain. Although I don't know if it would have made an auto-filling reservoir. I don't know if it would have created one. The bee summoned, I think I might have accidentally drowned it. It was not intentional. It was a byproduct of things happening around me that were already in process. I didn't have control over that. It's not my fault. You spawned a bee. Oh, okay.
Oh. Oh.
I'm gonna spend so much time just breaking stupid torches. Oh my god.
Everywhere.
Everywhere.
Oh, that ruined all my carpet.
You have carpet?
I did. Don't need more. Why is there water out here? How did... Ow. What? Oh my god. Go away. This is the worst.
Never want to see a torch again. Oh, wow. This is just popping.
It's gonna be. He's gonna
Dude,
be essential.
dude.
Oh, I got rid of my button too. I didn't realize water would get rid of a button.
My gumdrop buttons. Oh god, that bee sound in my ear.
Time.
What?
Time.
10 minutes. Why is there a boat?
Now, General, are you going to turn off crowd control when we go to
Probably. Yeah, I think that's the only fair thing to do. Sorry, I have Tetris to do. Oh, this is horrible. Okay.
Oh god, the focus it takes to hit these stupid torches.
There is a solution, but I'm not going to tell you until afterwards.
I know there's a solution, but it doesn't work with all the where the locations of these are.
Don't know if what? Why is my roof leaking? I still have water on my roof somehow.
Ugh. So remember, if you ow.
Just wait a moment. Remember what?
For those that are here, that you guys will be voting in a little bit. So stick around because we're going to take a tour of each other's plot.
Don't mind me. I'm just waiting for the timer to go so I can actually not be stuck in a wall. I have no idea where I am. Oh, Casper's upset.
Casper? Oh.
I
It's
found
okay.
more torches.
I know. Excuse me.
Oh,
Pardon me.
What? Okay.
Just gotta not mess up. Excuse me.
It has, yes, very. I'm sick of torches.
Certainly. Okay. Now I'm a vacuum.
And just a reminder, in case anybody thinks that, you know, we're actually mad at anybody for doing anything or anything, we're not. We appreciate
all.
you all. We're frustrated in the moment, sure. That is real. I'm not gonna pretend it's not.
I can't wait to see the differences in us. Jesus, that gets me every time. Can't reach, too big.
Kind of. Kind of. Or not really. We'll just put those there. And... Oh, that's a giant chicken.
My God, do you guys see what you're doing?
6.5 minutes. Stupid torches. We'll get rid of all of them.
Oh God.
Oh.
Oh, that's not helping.
Get rid of.
That's really not helping. This is fine.
Oh, especially when you're trying to deal with water. Oh my God.
was an awful sound.
That was a bad omen
Hate
potion.
that. Yeah, I don't like that. Don't like that at all.
5.5 minutes.
Okay.
This chicken is still gigantic. It hasn't decreased in size.
It's not gonna.
Well, why do we decrease in size if the chicken does? Like, what? That doesn't make any sense.
It's fair.
Okay, need to get rid of this and this, and then do this. Oh,
Cat, I'm really excited. I highly doubt I'm gonna win because General is such a good.
don't. This is there's not. I told you, I'm not lying when I say my building is not great. Not great right now.
Mine is experimental and abstract.
Oh my god!
Oh.
Where are we going? Oh my god! Are we going to the moon?
Oh, hi.
I have no idea what's
thanks.
happening. I have a disrupt. I can't.
Oh, that's great. I do love that he has the disrupts.
Yeah, chat. You guys don't realize that Penguin doesn't deal with the disrupts. Only I do.
It's wonderful.
Okay. So you kind of give Penguin a break whenever you do this. Oh, why do I? Oh, I was gonna say, why do I have a trident?
Oh god. Just hold on.
Oh.
Will places.
Chad, I didn't realize you had done this. This kind of is amusing and amazing and horrible at the same time.
Oh god. What did they do?
The bigger they made something, yeah. It stayed on something else. Yeah, yeah.
Freedom. Oh, hi. Excuse me, sir. Pardon me.
3 minutes.
Oh my god. Oh my god. This is just so good. I'm so excited to get to voting.
I'm kind of at a stalemate now. Where did you place that? Oh.
Say, where did it go?
It will just place in midair. Wherever.
Yep.
I did realize one issue, chat. Didn't put buttons here.
Uh-oh.
So that's an interesting one.
I heard you didn't put butts there, and I was like, oh.
Getting another disrupt, don't mind me. I'll be back to the world of the moment. You get to see how many sources I have. Technically, chat, if I place
Jesus!
If I place a pressure plate here, it doesn't actually, it's not this building, it's the road. Do you agree, chat? Not the building. I'm not attaching anything onto the building.
Is it a pass building?
Yes.
Yeah, so for those that are wondering what he's adorable talking about, you can't go back and add or adjust anything to the pass.
Why do you ruin me for it? It's part of the path. This is not on the building. Part of the path. Building. Path. It's fair.
Oh my god, chat, do you see what you did over here? Oh my god.
Cohesive.
This is good.
This is not. What are you? Can you will it double things again? I'm really curious if it doubles things again. Okay, I'm gonna. No, it doesn't.
Oh god. Oh my god.
I have a feeling this is not in punishment to me. It's in punishment to Penguin. Because it's not doing anything on my
no
side.
idea. This
30 seconds.
Guys.
I just have a giant chicken on my side. That's about it. And, well, whatever this monstrosity is. Yep. Okay. Yep. Time.
Walk away from me. All right, turn off.
I have things that are huge, so I can't. Yeah. I have one more thing that's huge.
Okay. After that, turn it off, turn it off, turn it off.
Go away from your builds.
Oh, can I leave the...
Just fly. I am turning off crowd control. 3, 2, 1. Okay. Crowd control is now off. As you can see in the bottom left.
It's safe.
It is now safe.
This world looks amazing from the top.
All right. So chat, from here on out, it is now voting time. So...
Are we going to, because we don't have a single screen, so I can stay in one place, you can walk people around, and then...
Well, I can go to the large gaming screen so people can get a full view of things.
Okay, perfect.
Let's do that, and then we can take turns to show off.
All right. Make sure, yep, everything looks good. Just making sure all of
And
mine.
I'm gonna watch the stream so I can see.
Or you can just
I can finally look.
come over to mine. No, I meant fly over with your Minecraft character.
Oh! There's too many options.
Penguin was actually going to walk over.
Oh my gosh, this is so different. Oh wow.
Welcome. So, the first thing I did is put down a plot lines so I had space dedicated to each thing.
Good job. Good job. I'm proud of you.
So this is the court.
Yep. Wow. Courtroom 1 and 2.
So if you go in.
Wow. Nice.
Yeah, he's the judge.
Oh wow.
So you have the public seating, and you have defendant and prosecutor.
Yep.
You have the court assistant, judge, and the witness stand.
That's so cool.
I have a feeling this is going to be a very...
Just wait till you see my world.
All right.
Just wait.
So this is what they were doing to the growing of things. Do you see how large these things are? So this is the gym. These are
this is
these are the bikes.
Your bikes.
You have a climbing wall with a bell.
Sticky keys.
You have
A climbing wall with
you
a
have
bell.
a little pool. This is my homage to Rhett.
Is this a infinity pool? So you just stay in the middle and the water's running at all times?
Yeah. Yep.
You're welcome.
Pull-up bars here.
Those are very
No,
nice.
where I am.
Good job.
That's a bench. This is a pull-up bar. You can tell Penguin doesn't use weights at a gym.
I know it, but that was
So
bad. How do we get out?
Yeah. Oh, look. Hey, look. There's a door. And this is the post office.
Fabulous.
So. Yeah.
All right. So what we're gonna do is come here to the middle, and we're just gonna fly straight up, so we can end on this shot.
Okay.
Let me go to mine so you can swap the screen, and we're gonna go from what yours looks like to what mine looks like.
I mean, well, I guess I can kind of do that. I can do a half
It's okay.
screen.
You can just lie to me.
I'll
Just
TP
lie
to
to
you.
me. Okay, TP to me. Okay, TP to me. Okay, chat. Remember what that looks like. And now this. Let me take you on a tour.
Oh boy.
Let's start at the courthouse, shall we?
Oh my.
So this used to be where the giant was. This was his playground, and he was the warden. Then he despawned. So that's where the giant was. So come on in. We are a courthouse that works on the fear tactics. So watch your step at all times. These are our townspeople. So and they got very large.
Oh, did you make yours the judge as well?
Yeah. I mean, he's up here, but then one of them decided to join him. So the judge is. So okay. So, anyways, focus. Here's the public seating. Here's the two prosecutor, defendant. Here's the guard
You mean the bailiff?
who takes whoever's on the stand. Apparently, this guy's at court right now. This is where the jury sits. Again, they have the firewall of pressure behind them.
The jury's supposed to be
back here-
impartial.
No, they gotta have pressure. And then this is his I need a relaxing break. I must view the world.
What world?
Yep. So that was my courthouse.
And you forgot about having to build 2 other things when you did that?
No. I just knew that my world was going to be abstract.
Or organic, yeah.
Oh, follow me. Organic. There we go. Okay, so follow the path. See, this town has wonderful tanks. There were 2 amazing, ginormous glowfish in here a second ago. I don't know where they're
Probably suffocated because they ended up in the glass.
So this is one of our beautiful glow tanks. We've got flowers, fire pits. Here's one of our other glow tanks with a glow statue of the village people in the back. Do you see him?
Uh-huh.
Yep. So that's of all the villagers. This is our gym. Welcome to our open air gym. Here's parkour. Come up here. We have this wonderful parkour track.
I don't.
You gotta get good. This is an advanced
think-
course.
I
This
think it
gym is
involves
only for the
cheating.
elite.
I think you're cheating. If I put you in adventure mode,
Nope,
you can
just
do it,
gotta go,
right?
nope. This world is not for us. This world is for them. Don't judge them.
Okay, go
Judge
ahead.
All right, come over here to the boxing rink. You've got
What is happening with his feet?
so this was 2, and then the Great Water made it into 1. They are now together. And then we have the civilians that are fighting in the boxing rink as well. And just so you know, we have the fire pressure wall again, so you can feel that nice pressure. And we have our beautiful water installations around. These are our bikes. Please enjoy our bikes.
You're missing a connector here.
There was a connector. I think something took it out. So yes, come on out. Again, we have our beautiful lighting and path, our beautiful flowers, another beautiful glow tank. And then our post office is old school. This is the type where you walk in and you fill it by yourself. Put your letters in, and there you go. This is a self-run post office. These civilians, they work all together. So you just find your mailbox and put it in. This is my town. And if you need relax, there's the city center fire pit.
Yeah, this is very penguin. This is very. I can feel the moment as you built this one, and then went to build the second one, and then started looking at the third and went, uh-oh.
It was actually great that it was post office, because I was like, great.
If you got university, you would be screwed. If you got the university, you'd be screwed.
Oh yeah. So yeah, definitely chat. You've got two different worlds. You've got the organic nature, which I might add, I have civilians. It is a working town. It is a using town, currently active, and they have been using the facilities. Boxing rink, one of them was on the bikes. They're having a court case. So I don't know. This town's pretty cool.
Oh man. All right. Let me get into a poll area. Oh.
Are you putting a poll up, or do you want me to?
I was going to, but if actually I'm right here.
Okay, go ahead. Yeah, Red. But I'd make it work. I'm a very smart penguin.
Do we want to do 2 minutes?
I would. 2-minute poll. Yeah, 2-minute poll.
All right, ready, chat?
Look, he's using
Poll
the
is up.
bikes.
Don't worry, we're not going to make you donate for the poll. This is just going to be purely in Twitch chat.
Penguin, if you need a reminder, Penguin is me. I am the organic sponge lava side, and General is the one that has the main cam right now, and he's got the beautiful streets.
Thanks for we'll put that up there. I don't need that thing.
Put your votes in. We'll see who has won this build off for making a town. Cohesive town.
Okay, you can't stalemate it. You gotta vote.
Hey, if you, General, you're kind of biasing the vote. You're only showing your build. Put us on the split screen or look at both of them. This doesn't feel right.
It got moved. It got moved. There you go. What if there's a tie? We blow them both up. Oh boy.
It is fabulous. What if there's a tie? Well, then there's a tie saying we're equally deserving of this. But surely there's got to be more out there.
Oh. Hardy, you got to put a vote in the poll. I don't know who's voted in the poll.
Look at the, if you look at the top of your chat, you're going to see current poll. Hit the down arrow, and then it's going to say Penguin General with 2 circles. Click the circle for who you want to vote for.
Jesus, you got loud for a second. I think it's just going to end with a 1 and 1. That's our chat in a nutshell, though. Oh, hey. Yay!
Right at the last moment.
Still counts. So what we need to do now.
Wait. You don't hurt. There's villagers here. No. There are people living in this town. You can't hurt it. This is a community. Don't take down the community.
Penguin's attached. Chat, $100 donation real quick, and I put a wither in here.
My people! Everyone scatter!
I'll give you 2 minutes. 2 minutes, and then we close out.
Scatter!
Told you, if it's a tie, they both get blown up, so that implies that whoever loses gets blown up. I mean, that's what chat was trying to do the entire time.
Turo. And I do, I appreciate that you like my post office. Does that mean you don't like my gym or courthouse? Too many. They have purpose. Look at them. It is a sponge tree, and look, there's 2 more. It's a theme. There's 3 of them, and there's even a cute statue inside the sponge.
See, the issue with your sponges, you put them so close together. That's why they weren't being as effective as they could have been.
I got tired. I
like
started doing it the right way, and then I got really impatient.
Yeah,
and so my goal was to just get the boxing rink free.
60 seconds.
And around it. So the boxing rinks, I had built that first when before the water came, and the water came, and I was determined to get my rink back. So I at least got that area to go away, and then I was like, well, I now have sponge trees.
All right, 30 seconds and penguins. The village is safe.
I have townspeople.
I mean, she wants to keep it safe, but I'm going to be deleting the server after this anyways.
Don't tell
You have a
me
large
that.
brain.
Oh, look at him.
Same.
He's admiring his statue. He's admiring his statue I made for him in the water.
All right, I think your build is safe until I delete the files. Because it's hosted on my computer. All right. Chat. Oh. Well, I guess you don't see me.
It's got you. You have a musher in front of you.
I'll just be over here. Seriously, thank you so much, chat. I mean, I wasn't really sure what we'd be able to do this year because I know it's a rough year for finances. So I keep sliding. I appreciate everything that we raised. I mean, $3,155 is a lot. The server will still be open. So if you want to play on the server will be open until May 31st. We owe you an Are We There Yet stream, Zoids, and a I mean, we might combine the dragon fight and the server close stream together. Probably do that together. Yes, Turner and Casper got a bunch of treats. So we owe you like 3 different types of streams. I don't know if Zoids will be during charity season. That might be after charity season is over. Not 100% sure. It kind of depends on time. Obviously, the Minecraft server streams, like the Dragon Fight, and kind of the last tour of the server will be together. And have to happen during charity season, because otherwise kind of gonna close the server. But I really appreciate everybody. Seriously. I mean, we're really far into the goal. So thank you. I hope you had fun. We tried to come up with some fun stuff this year. And I hope you enjoyed it. We didn't want to keep doing the same old, where everybody knows exactly what to expect. So we wanted to keep it interesting. And I hope we did that. But also trading cards will still be available. I'll make a post in the Discord about those. If you didn't see the gold foil cards, there's new ones. Yeah, we just don't want to make things stale. Because we know that there's a limit to things. And we want to keep innovating. So we'll see what next year brings. But hopefully you enjoyed. Let me see real quick. I don't know if I'm gonna raid because we have to run. There's a bunch of people doing StJude stuff. So if there's somebody you have interest in going to see, please do. But otherwise, we'll keep you updated in Discord of when we are going to do the other streams that we owe you. The RV There Yet stream, we might put crowd control on just for fun of it. If nothing happens, cool. If stuff happens, cool. But thank you, everybody. I hope you have a good weekend, and we'll see you next time. Bye.